Good afternoon. This morning we discussed when Bodhisattva was meditating, he divided thoughts into two, and he was meditating with mindfulness, and he said when sensual desire arose in him, he knew that it was not conducive to his benefit, but it leads to his afflictions and others and so forth. What kind of sensual desire he had? Because now he is much more tamed and near attaining enlightenment. The kind of sense desire he had was the external, the very ordinary sense desire, not lust as such, but sense desire means seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, and so forth, for the desire for these things. And the place is beautiful, he must have been attached to that. And seat was comfortable, he must have been attached to that, and so forth. This kind of sensual pleasure. When he contemplated on that and knowing the disadvantage of it, it faded away. Then the thought of renunciation arose in him, that is leading to his own benefit and the benefit of others and benefit of both. And then when ill will, the ill will is not ill will towards people like ordinary people have, but the feeling of cold, heat and wind, mosquitoes and things like this was hurting him, and so disappointment arose in him. That is a kind of ill will. Although the word ill will is used here, it is not the same type of ill will that ordinary people have. And the thought of cruelty that arose in him also was not that kind of gross kind of cruelty. But when mind was not concentrated, uddhacha, restlessness arose, and then he contemplated on that, then it faded away. As they faded away, what happened? His mind settled internally. I abandoned, removed it, did away with it. And he was with the thought of renunciation, thought of loving friendliness, thought of compassion. He was able to stay a whole night, whole day, pondering upon these thoughts. And as he abandoned them, so he compares this to a cowherd. Just as in the last month of the rainy season, in the autumn, when crops thicken, a cowherd would guard his cows by constantly tapping, poking them on this side and that with stick to check and curb them. Meaning that he is leading cows, and they are going through rice fields, paddy fields, corn fields, and wheat fields and so forth. So they nibble here, nibble there, and that he wanted to avoid. So the cowherd then take a stick and tap on the left side if they turn to left, tap on the right side of the cows if they turn to right, and put them on the right track to go direct. So Buddha said, why did he do that? Because he sees that he could be flogged, imprisoned, fined, or blamed. By whom? By the field owners, rice field owners and so forth. And therefore he wanted to guard these cows properly. Similarly, when his mind went here and there, he used his mindfulness. Mindfulness is his cane to bring his mind back to the track. Track is the attention, paying attention to the mindful object of meditation. Because if you let the mind wander here and there on this, for this object and that object, he will not be able to continue his meditation practice. And when the mind goes here and there, it will be harmful to himself, harmful to others, and harmful to both. Therefore, he wanted to guard it. So too I was in unwholesome state, danger, degradation and defilement, and in wholesome state, the blessings of renunciation, aspect of cleansing. He saw that. Now he says, as I abided thus, diligent, ardent and resolute, a thought of renunciation arose in me. I understood thus, this thought of renunciation has arisen in me. This does not lead to my own afflictions, or to the afflictions of others, or to afflictions of both. It aids wisdom, does not cause difficulties, and leads to Nibbana. Seeing these benefits, advantages of the thought of renunciation, he maintained them. If I think and ponder upon these thoughts even for a night, even for a day, even for a day and night and day, I see nothing to fear from it. Now, this expression we found even in Arya Pariyasana Sutta, when he saw the pleasure, joy, happiness of cultivating this thought, what arose in him? Joy arose in him, pleasure arose in him. And this joy and pleasure is not dangerous. Therefore there was no fear in him. All other pleasures and joys related to sensual pleasures have peril, have danger, have disadvantage. And therefore that should be feared. One should be afraid to cultivate those pleasures. But this pleasure has no danger. Therefore he says, I see nothing to fear from it. From this pleasure there is nothing to fear. But with excessive thinking and pondering, I might tie my body, and the body is tired, the mind becomes disturbed. Now he was practicing what? Vipassana meditation. Vipassana meditation. And when the mind is disturbed, it is far from concentration. Now he is practicing Vipassana meditation by thinking, pondering over these things, and then he got into this agitation because of the joy. That means from Vipassana meditation you gain concentration, and here he is far from gaining concentration. He was practicing Vipassana to gain concentration, but he cannot gain concentration. So I steadied my mind internally, quieted it, brought it to singleness, and concentrated it. Why is that? So that my mind should not be disturbed. Then he practiced concentration and gave up the thinking of these two kinds of thoughts. Now thinking of two kinds of thought also is a kind of meditation. It is called Vipassana meditation. And when you get tired of that, then you have to give that up and switch on to concentration. So in this discourse you can see Buddha practiced both together. He started with mindfulness, and when his mind becomes agitated, because when you practice mindfulness, he was so delighted because he got rid of unwholesome mental states and cultivated wholesome mental states. When he cultivated wholesome mental states, he was so glad, so happy, so delighted. He could stay whole day, whole night with this wholesome thought. But that makes him restless, not concentrated. And therefore he gave up that practice and started concentrating. So he mentioned this with regard to desire and practicing renunciation. Then he repeat the same thing with regard to ill will and cruelty. When ill will arose, he thought, this is harmful to me, harmful to others, harmful to both. He gave up and cultivated metta, loving friendliness. And then same thing happened. Whole day, whole night he practiced metta. And then he could not sleep, could not gain concentration. So he gave up that and started settling the mind internally. Then he saw the thought of cruelty arising, cruelty regarding mosquitoes. When mosquito landed on him, he might have felt very uncomfortable, and his hand might have gone slowly to smash mosquitoes, but he refrained from that. But that kind of restraint itself might have made him uncomfortable, and that is the thought of cruelty. The thought of attacking mosquito is the thought of cruelty. And cold, sun, rain and so forth, people get angry or cruel thought towards those things. So he gave up that and cultivated compassion. Compassion for mosquitoes, gadflies and other little creeping creatures. And that made him full of compassion and also led to restlessness. So Buddha repeated, when you practice one thing, see, when he was practicing compassion, that possessed his mind. So whole day and whole night, all he had in his mind was compassion. When he was practicing metta, loving friendliness, all day long he had was loving friendliness or metta. When he practiced renunciation, that thought, all day long he had thought of renunciation. Letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go. So, now he came to this settled state of mind. Now his mind is calm, relaxed, concentrated. At that time, he gives another simile. Just as in the last month of the hot season, when all the crops have been brought inside the village, a cowherd would guard his cows while staying at the root of a tree or out in the open, since he needs only to be mindful the cows are there. So too, there was need for me only to be mindful that those states were there. What are those states? The states of thought of renunciation, thought of metta, thought of loving friendliness. He now doesn't have to develop it deliberately. Now, this cowherd's example is very good example. He let go his cows and leave them free to roam in the rice field, paddy field. Why? There is no crops, no rice. It's already harvested. Only the straw is there. Little, what do you call those stalks? The stubble. Stubble. Double.
Stubble. Stubble.
S-U-B-B.
Stubble.
Stumps. Yes, stumps, yes. Yeah. Are there. So the cowherd doesn't have to worry about it because there is no grain for them to eat. It's all gone. So his eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and so forth don't go to sensual pleasure, nor do they go to hate, nor do they go to cruelty. All now he has are thought of renunciation, loving friendliness and compassion. And even he doesn't have to make special effort to even to cultivate those things. All he has to do is to remain mindful. So he lies down. He sits down and remains mindful. When the wholesome thought of renunciation arises, he simply becomes aware of the thought of renunciation. When metta arises, he remains mindful of metta. When compassion arises, he remains mindful of that. Doesn't do any special thing at that time to cultivate them. And then what happens? Tireless energy was aroused in me and unremitted mindfulness was established. My body was tranquil and untroubled. My mind concentrated and unified. When tireless energy was arose in me, unremitting mindfulness was established. Now this time energy is not excitement, not hypertension, but energy to stay with this calm, relaxed, peaceful state without falling asleep. Because this is the time one can fall asleep, but he doesn't fall asleep. And his body was calm, relaxed, mind was calm and relaxed, and not troubled at all. My mind concentrated and unified. You can see when you begin with mindfulness meditation, how that mind leads to concentration. When everything settles down, everything is calm, relaxed, then you gain concentration. This formula of gaining concentration is repeated in many places. So, in this translation, it is not repeated here, but you can see it on 23rd to 32 in Sutta number 4. On page 104 you see, quite secluded from sense pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, I entered upon and abided in the first jhana, which is accompanied by applied thought and sustained thought, with rapture and pleasure born of seclusion. This is the standard formula of the first jhana. Unfortunately, our time is short to explain all these things in detail. He is secluded from, physically he is secluded, mentally he is secluded. Mentally he is secluded from sensual pleasures and 5 hindrances. What are the 5 hindrances? Sense pleasure, hatred, restlessness and worry, doubt and anger. The list goes, begins with sensual pleasure, anger, restlessness and worry, sleepiness and drowsiness, and doubt. These are the 5 hindrances. So when the mind is free from these 5 hindrances, you have mental seclusion. When you are away from hustle, bustle, busy activities, you are physically secluded. So this is what the formula says, secluded from sensual pleasures and secluded from unwholesome states. I entered upon and abided in the first jhana, which is accompanied by applied thought and sustained thought. This applied thought and sustained thought simply means vitakka vichara. Vitakka we just have been discussing, 2 kinds of vitakkas. What kind of vitakka we have here is wholesome vitakka, vitakka of renunciation, loving friendliness and compassion. It is specifically mentioned in this discourse in Sutta number 19. And with this thought, he abided in the first jhana. Then, with the stilling of applied thought and sustained thought, I entered upon and abided in the second jhana, which has self-confidence and singleness of mind, without applied and sustained thought, with rapture and pleasure born of concentration. Even the word concentration is used in the attainment of the second jhana. And the first jhana you have pleasure and rapture. And the second jhana, because of calming, settling, stilling the mind, you have concentration. And then go to the third jhana. Going from one jhana to another and so forth, all I have explained in some of my books. I don't have time to go through all of them. Then fading away as well of rapture, abided in equanimity, and mindful and fully aware, still feeling pleasure with the body, I entered upon and abided in the third jhana, on account of which noble ones announced, he has a pleasure abiding with who has equanimity and is mindful. Noble ones are those Aryans who have already attained these stages. Noble ones are the Aryans who have some of them are liberated, some are on the way to liberation. Specifically those Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahanta, saintly persons. These saintly persons are those who are wearing robes and living in monasteries, or who are not wearing robes and living in household life. They also fall into the category of noble ones, because they also have attained the stream entry, once returner, never returner, at least these three stages. And then the last is with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, and with the previous disappearance of joy and grief, I entered upon and abided in the fourth jhana, which has neither pain nor pleasure, and purity of mindfulness due to equanimity. So that is those are the qualities of the fourth jhana. So Buddha here repeats the same thing. And then he used this purified mind to recall his previous lives, as he discussed it in what sutta? Ati Maha Hatti Padopama Sutta. We discussed this earlier. And therefore I don't have to repeat. These are the three knowledges he gained. First watch he gained the knowledge of seeing his previous life. Second watch of the night he saw beings dying and taking rebirth according to their karma. And in the morning he attained the destruction of defilements. And then finally he says, birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done, and there is no more coming to any state of being. This was the third true knowledge that he got. Then Buddha gives a simile to conclude his discourse. Suppose a bhikkhu that in a wooded range there was a great low-lying marsh near which a large herd of deer lived. Then a man appeared, desiring their ruin, harm and bondage, and he closed off the safe and good path that led to their happiness, and he opened up a false path, and he put out a decoy and set up a dummy, so that the large herd of deer might later come upon a calamity, disaster and loss. But another man came desiring their good, welfare and protection, and he reopened the safe and good path that led to their happiness, and he closed off the false path, and he removed the decoy and destroyed the dummy, so that the large herd of deer might later come to growth, increase and fulfillment. So he show the meaning of this simile. Because I have given this simile in order to convey a meaning. This is the meaning. The great low-lying marsh is a term for sensual pleasures. Sensual pleasure is lying marsh. So attractive. The large herd of deer is a term for beings, means living beings, human and so forth. The man desiring their ruin, harm, bondage is a term for Mara, the evil one. Evil one always closes the path that leads to freedom, liberation, and open the path to go to peril, destruction, and pain and suffering. That is his function, his duty. False path is the term for the wrong eightfold path. That is wrong view, wrong intention, and so forth. Now, remember, if somebody says that there is no wrong mindfulness, mindfulness must be always right. Here you can see Buddha very clearly define that there are two types of mindfulness. One is wholesome, one is unwholesome. Here he mentioned wrong mindfulness and wrong concentration. I think what is wrong mindfulness, wrong concentration? You can see wrong view is view of self and so forth. But what is wrong mindfulness and wrong concentration? Wrong mindfulness does not have any knowledge of impermanence, unsatisfactoriness and selflessness, nor does it have any knowledge of suffering, cause of suffering, end of suffering, path leading to the end of suffering, or wrong mindfulness is not supported by right understanding, right thinking, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, and right concentration. So wrong mindfulness is not supported by the remaining 7 stages of the Noble Eightfold Path. There are 7 steps of the Noble Eightfold Path. And therefore it is called wrong mindfulness. Similarly, wrong concentration is the concentration without right understanding, right thinking, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort and right mindfulness. And these things must be present in right mindfulness and right concentration. And the decoy is a term for delight and lust. The dummy is a term for ignorance. Then man desiring good, welfare and protection is a term for the Tathagata, accomplished one, fully enlightened. The safe good path that led to their happiness is a term for the Noble Eightfold Path. So because the safe and good path that leads to happiness has been reopened. This is very important word to remember. Reopened. Buddha did not invent it or discover it or found it all afresh. What he did was reopen. This is very important thing to remember. Maggo sovatiko petu kummagu uvantu okmaru napya sat vikasana. Vivato. Okay, I open it. It was closed before, and Buddha opened it. The wrong path that has been closed off, the decoy removed, the dummy destroyed. So don't hesitate to use the word destroy. What we destroy is ignorance. And don't have any mercy for ignorance. And be gentle and soft and kind and lull it and saying, well, I am very compassionate with my ignorance. No compassion for ignorance. Just destroy it. And he said, what should be done for the disciples out of compassion by a teacher who seeks their welfare and has compassion for them? That I have done for you, because there are these roots of trees, these empty huts. Meditate, because do not delay, or else you will regret it later. This is our instruction to you. This is Buddha's compassionate. Etani bhikkhave rukkani rukkhamulani etani sunnyagarani jayata bhikkhave. You see, this is just like a commanding. Ma pamadatta ma pacha vippatisarno ahuvattha ayango ammakang anusasani. Beautiful statement. Try to remember this. Mark it and remember. All right, let us begin this sutta, Chula Hattipadopam Sutta. Chula means small, Hatti means elephant, Pada, feet, or normally Pada is foot, and Opama, actually the word is Upama. There's a grammatical structure here. According to that, Upama is changed into Opama. So, the short discourses, the elephant, or the simile of the elephant footprint. Pada you have in English also. Do you know that? What? In English you use pada for foot. Where?
Well, certainly in Sanskrit and in yoga poses, pada is foot.
Yes. Pada we use in pediatrist, one who deals with foot, pada. Yeah. Huh? So, here you can see when the Buddha was living in Savatthi, in Anathapindika's grove, then Janusoni, Brahmin Janusoni, Janusoni is very rich, very famous, very powerful. He is like a king. He goes to the city periodically to spend the day there. When he goes there, in the midday, he goes in an all-white chariot. All-white means the chariot is white, mares that pulled the chariot also white. The cane he used was white, rein was white, he was wearing white clothes, wearing white sandals, and his parasol was white, his turban was white, people were going with him were white, wearing white. So everything was snow white, everybody. is white. And many, many people come to see this pageantry of white. When a Janusoni comes, he announces in advance that he was coming to the town, and everybody comes to see him. And so he is now going on this road. And then another Brahmin called Pilotika, he is a wanderer. He also was coming. Wanderer is Paribhajaka. He was coming towards Janusoni, and he saw Pilotika coming in the direction she is going. Now, where is Master Vachayana coming from in the middle of the day? Vachayana is the clan of Pilotika. So Janusoni knew him by his clan and asked him, where are you coming from? Sir, I am coming from the presence of the recluse Gautama. What does you say? What does Master Gautama think of recluse Gautama's, what does Master Vachayana think of recluse Gautama's lucidity of wisdom? He is wise, is he not? Then conversation started in a very interesting way. He says, Sir, whom am I to know the recluse Gautama's lucidity of wisdom? One would surely have to be his equal to know the recluse Gautama's lucidity of wisdom. Who am I? I cannot tell how lucid this wisdom is. Master Vachayana praised the recluse Gautama with higher praise indeed. Sir, who am I to praise the recluse Gautama? The recluse Gautama is praised by the praised as best among gods and humans. Somebody who is praised as Gautama himself can praise Gautama, not me. I am not praised like him, so I cannot praise. Then, what reason does Master Vachayana see that he has such a firm confidence in the recluse Gautama? So he asks the reason for his such a wonderful, such a deep faith. Sir, suppose a wise elephant woodman were to enter an elephant wood and were to see in the elephant wood a big elephant's footprint, long in extent, broad across, he would come to the conclusion, indeed, this is a big bull elephant. So too, when I saw 4 footprints of the recluse Gautama, I came to the conclusion, the Blessed One is fully enlightened, the Dhamma is well proclaimed by the Blessed One, the Sangha is practicing the good way. What are the 4? When I saw these 4 footprints, I knew the Bhavat Gautama, the Buddha, is Nityangato. Samma Sambuddho Bhagava. I came to this conclusion. Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho. I came to this conclusion. That is, the Buddha is fully enlightened, Dhamma is well expounded, the Sangha is well trained or treading the right path, good way. I saw 4 footprints, just like an elephant trainer goes to a elephant forest and seeing a huge elephant footprint concludes this must be a real big elephant. So he gave his 4 footprints. One is learned nobles, that is Brahmana Pandita. There are 4 types of Brahmanas, Panditas, Brahmana Pandita. They hear that the Buddha is coming to this area, then they all get together and exchange questions. They collect their questions to ask the Buddha. So that's what this says. They are very well educated and they come up with sharp as hair-splitting marksmen. That is, they can have hair-splitting arguments. They wander about as it demolishing the views of others with their sharp wits. When they hear the recluse Gautama will visit such and such a village or town, they formulate questions thus: we will go to the recluse Gautama and ask him this question. If he is asked like this, he will answer like this. And so we will refute his doctrine in this way. And if he is asked like that, he will answer like that, and so we will refute his doctrine in this way. So they well prepare their questions, and in advance they have the questions and the rebuts, and then counter questions and rebuts and so forth. They all prepared in advance. And then they go the recluse Gautama has come to visit such and such a village or town. They go to the recluse Gautama, and the recluse Gautama instructs, urges, rouses and gladdens them with a talk on the Dhamma. After they have been instructed, urged, roused and gladdened by the recluse Gautama with a talk on the Dhamma, they do not so much as ask him the question, so how should they refute his doctrine? When the Buddha explained the Dhamma, taught the Dhamma so clearly, so well, they forget their questions. And they don't ask it. In actual fact, they become his disciples. When I saw this first footprint of the recluse Gautama, I came to the conclusion, the Blessed One is fully enlightened. Samma Sambuddho Bhagava. The Dhamma is well expounded, Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo. The Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho. Sangha is practicing the good way. So he goes on to explaining who other types of Brahmins, other types of learned people, like Gahapati Pandita. I think first Panditas are Khattriya Pandita, first Panditas. Second Panditas are Gahapati Panditas, Brahman Panditas. third Panditas are Gahapati Panditas, and fourth Panditas are Samana Panditas. And all of them prepare their questions in advance, answers in advance, rebuts in advance, counter questions in advance, and all they prepare. Royal Panditas, learned people, Brahmin Panditas, and household ordinary other Panditas, plus Samana Panditas. Pandita means very, very learned people. And they go well prepared with their questions and their answers. And they end up in becoming, first when the Buddha explained Dhamma so clearly, so perfectly, they forget their questions and simply surrender to Buddha and become Buddha's followers. When learned recluses go, who also learn the Dhamma, learn their questions in advance, prepared their questions in advance, answer and so forth. When they go there, they say, in actual fact, they ask the recluse Gautama to allow them to go forth from home life into homelessness. Other three types of Panditas went and learned and became Buddha's disciples, lay disciples, followers. But when recluse goes there, they requested the Buddha to admit them, accept them to his order, and they want to renounce the world and become monks. And then they say, not long after they have gone forth, dwelling alone, withdrawn, diligent, ardent, and resolute, by realizing for themselves with direct knowledge, they here and now enter upon and abide in that supreme goal of the holy life for the sake of which clansmen rightly go forth from home life to homelessness. What do they realize? After becoming monks, they practice ardently, living alone and spending time in practicing meditation. They attain enlightenment. This is what it means. Not long after they have gone forth, dwelling alone, withdrawn from sensual pleasures and so forth, diligent, ardent, resolute, and then by realizing for themselves with the direct knowledge, that is called abhinya, they here and now enter upon and abide in that supreme goal, that is Nibbana, for of the holy life for the sake of which clansmen rightly go forth from home to homelessness. Then they say, this is very interesting what they say, we were very nearly lost if we did not come to the Buddha. We were nearly lost. We were nearly perished. For formerly we clansmen, we claimed that we were recluses, though we were not really recluses. We claimed that we were Brahmins, though we were not really Brahmins. Here Brahmins means enlightened persons, not just Brahmin clans, but they want to, this is the term used even by the Buddha for enlightened person. We claim that we were arahants, though we were not really arahants. But now we are recluses, now we are Brahmins, now we are arahants. when I saw this footprint of the recluse Gautama, I came to conclusion the Blessed One is fully enlightened, Dhamma is well expounded, Sangha is following the right path. So what are the 4 footprints? Is this Pilotika saw? 4 people of 4 different clans went, royal members of royal families, Brahmins and ordinary other householders, plus other recluses who have been practicing the renounced life in other tradition. These are the 4. They went there to argue with the Buddha with well-prepared questions and answers. I don't know whether you read in Abhay Raja Kumara Sutta, there is a sutta we read earlier somewhere. I don't know whether you read it. Anyway, in this book there is another sutta called Abhay Raja Kumara Sutta. In this sutta, when Abhay Raja had a discussion with the Buddha, and he was formerly a Niganta's disciple. Niganta is another religious person, his disciple. When he had a discussion with the Buddha, Buddha gave his answer so clearly, so perfectly. Abhay Rajakumara became his own Buddha's follower. Then Abhay Rajakumara asked the Buddha, Venerable Sir, do you prepare your answers in advance? Then Buddha asked Abhay Raja, Prince Abhay, you know your chariot? He said, I know it very well. I know every part of my chariot. Suppose somebody comes with a problem with his chariot and asks you a question. Have you prepared your answers in advance? No, because you know your chariot so well that when somebody says this part is such and such a part is defective, not functioning properly, you know exactly what he is talking about. You can fix it. Similarly, when Buddha is so fully enlightened, it doesn't matter what kind of questions people come up with. He knows the answer right away. And this is what happened when these 4 kinds of people came with all kinds of questions. Buddha spoke to them on Dhamma. He was not interested in their questions at all. Even these people forgot their question. Buddha simply when somebody comes, he did not ask, how is your business, have you make enough money, and what is your profit, and so forth. He would straight away start talking to the person Dhamma. And these people forget about their questions. Dhamma is so intriguing, so pleasing, they become Buddha's followers. Now, Pilotika saw only these 4. And then Janusoni was so thrilled, so happy, then he said, Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa 3 times. He got off his chariot and turned towards the direction where Buddha was living. And he said, folding his palms, he said, Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa 3 times. Then Janusoni went to see the Buddha. Before going to see the Buddha, he was already had faith, trust, confidence, saddha in the Buddha. And he repeated the conversation he had with Pilotika and said, Pilotika became very happy, your follower, seeing 4 footprints. 4 elephant footprints. Then Buddha said to Janusoni, these are not the real footprints that Vilotika saw. But I tell you the real footprints of the Buddha. So he went on, so to Brahmins, he explained the 4 elephant footprints, that elephant trainer goes and sees. Elephant trainer sees one footprint of an elephant big in extent, he says, footprint long in extent and broad across. So wise elephant trainer, elephant woodsman, would not yet come to the conclusion, indeed, this is a big bull elephant. Why? Why is that? In an elephant wood, there are small she elephants. They are called Vamanaka, Uchchakalarika. Vamanaka means small, like a dwarf elephant. And she has a footprint like this. So he abandoned the idea and he follows it and sees in the elephant wood a big elephant footprint, long in extent and broad across, and some scraping high up. Now the first one he saw only the footprint, but nothing else. The second footprint he saw, not only the footprint, by scraping high up on trees. So wise elephant woodman would not yet come to a conclusion, indeed this is a big bull elephant. Why is that? In an elephant wood there are tall she elephants that have prominent teeth and leave a big footprint, and this might be one of their footprint. He follows it further and sees another big footprint that also has broad across and some scraping high up and marks made by tusks. This is the third elephant footprint he saw, and with the marks on the tree, high up and mark made by tusks. And still he did not conclude that it is a footprint of an elephant, because there are some other she elephants who also have tusks and leave big footprints. And then he follows it further and sees in the elephant wood a big elephant footprint, long in extent and broad across, and some scraping high up, and marks made by tusks and broken off branches, and he sees that bull elephant. Now he sees the elephant. Up to this point he did not see the elephant. He saw only the footprints and suspected this must be so-and-so's footprint. Now he saw the elephant. At the root of a tree, walking about, sitting or lying down, he comes to the conclusion, this is the big bull elephant. And Buddha compares this with his own understanding or interpretation of the footprints. So, Tathagata appears in the world, accomplished, fully enlightened, perfect in true knowledge and conduct, sublime, know about the world's incomparable leader of persons, to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened and blessed. This is what we recite in the morning. This is the translation of this passage. So Bhagava Araham Samma Sambuddha and so forth. He declares this world with its gods, its Maharaj, its Brahmins, this generation with its recluse and Brahmins, its princes and its people, which he has himself realized with direct knowledge. Now, what he declares and teaches to all these individuals, all these people in this world, including gods, Brahmins, humans and so forth, is not something that he heard from somebody, but he has personally realized with his direct knowledge. And he teaches Dhamma, good in the middle, good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end. What is good in the beginning? Excellent Adi Kalyanam. Adi Kalyanam is well expounded Dhamma. Adi Kalyana means the beginning is excellent, the beginning is Sila. Sila is perfect and perfectly explained in all details. What is excellent in the middle? Samadhi. Middle is perfectly explained, very clearly explained, Samadhi. What is the end? Panya, wisdom. By following the path, one reaches that. So, these three are explained very clearly with the right meanings and phrase, and he reveals the holy life that is utterly perfect and pure. As we read his teaching, he has no any patchwork. It is so complete and pure and noble. And then household of his son will hear this Dhamma, and then he established faith in the Buddha, and possessing that faith, he considers household life is crowded and dusty. Life gone forth is wide open. It is not easy while living in a home to lead the holy life, utterly perfect and pure as polished shell. Suppose I shave my hair and beard, put on the yellow robe, and go forth from the home life to homelessness. So he thought this. So later on he abandoned all his large or small properties, families, and circle of friends and relatives, and then shaves his hair and becomes a monastic. Here he talks about a bhikkhu. And having thus gone, these are the things he does after going. The whole list is given here. He abstained from many precepts. Killing living beings, and he abstained. Then after killing living beings, he laid down rods, weapons, and then he becomes gentle and kind and compassionate to all living beings. So he does two things by giving up killing. One, he abstained from killing, and abstaining from killing itself is not enough. Then he does something positively. What does he do positively? He becomes gentle, kind, compassionate to all living beings. Then he abstained from taking what is not given to him. After abstaining from taking what is not given to him. He accepts only what is given. And he abides in purity. And then, abandoning incelibacy, he observes celibacy, living apart, abstaining from the vulgar practice of sexual intercourse, and then abandoning false speech, he abstained from false speech. Now, not only abstaining from false speech, this is what he does. He speaks the truth, adheres to truth, is trustworthy, reliable, one who is no deceiver of the words. Now, this is also very important to remember. Musavadang pahaya musavada pativirto hoti satchavadi satchasando theto pachayuko avihingsavadako lokasa. And these words also we must remember. Satchavadi, speaking the truth. Satchasando, connecting with the truth. Theto, steady. Pachayuko. And he says something that is provable. And then, abandoning malicious speech. This is also very important. He abstains from malicious speech. He does not repeat elsewhere what he has heard here in order to divide those people from those. That means he does not he does not repeat elsewhere what he has heard here. So he heard something here and does not go there to divide people here. You see? Nor does he repeat to those people what he has heard elsewhere in order to divide from those. That means they don't repeat what they have heard there and come here to repeat, to divide them, break their friendship. Thus he is one who reunites those who are divided. A promoter of friendship who enjoys concordance, rejoices in concordance, delight in concordance, speak of words that promote concordance. These are the things he does when he abstains from malicious speech. Abstaining from malicious is one thing, but at the same time he does so many other good things afterward. Pisuna vacham pahaya, pisuna vacha pativirto hoti, ito sutta na amutra khata. Ime sanbhedaya. Here he hears something here and goes there to divide people here. When he goes and tells something to those people over there, he divides people here. Then amutra sutta na imesang akkata amusang bhedaya. Having heard things over there, he doesn't come here and tell to divide these people against them. Iti bhinnanang sandhata. Though he's the one who united those who are divided. Sahitanang anupadata. Those who are divided, he brings together. Samagga Ramo, Samagga Rato, Samagga Nandi, Samagga Karaning, Vachang Bhajta Hoti. He speaks to, brings harmony, concordance, and so forth. And then harsh speech. He abstained from harsh speech and speak softly, gently, pleasing to the ears and lovable, that as to go to the heart, are courteous, desired by many, and so forth. So these are things he practices, and pure and noble. And then household of his son will hear this Dhamma, and then he established faith in the Buddha, and possessing that faith, he considers household life is crowded and dusty. Life gone forth is wide open. It is not easy while living in a home to lead the holy life, utterly perfect and pure as polished shell. Suppose I shave my hair and beard, put on the yellow robe, and go forth from the home life to homelessness. So he thought this. So later on he abandoned all his large or small properties, families, and circle of friends and relatives, and then shaves his hair and becomes a monastic. Here he talks about the bhikkhu. And having thus gone, these are the things he does after going. All the whole list is given here. He abstained from 5 precepts, many precepts, killing living beings, and he abstained, then after killing living beings, he laid down rods, weapons, and then he becomes gentle and kind and compassionate to all living beings. So he does 2 things by giving up killing. One, he abstains from killing, and abstaining from killing itself is not enough. Then he does something positively. What does he do positively? He becomes gentle, kind, compassionate to all living beings. Then he abstains from taking what is not given to him. After abstaining from taking what is not given to him, he accepts only what is given, and he abides in purity. And then, abandoning in celibacy, he observes celibacy, living apart, abstaining from the vulgar practice of sexual intercourse, and then abandoning false speech. He abstains from false speech. Now, not only abstaining from false speech, this is what he does. He speaks the truth, adheres to truth, is trustworthy, reliable, one who is no deceiver of the words. Now, this is also very important to remember. Musavadam pahai musavada pativirto hoti satchavadi satchasando theto Pachayuko avihinsavadako lokasa. And these words also we must remember. Satchavadi, speaking the truth. Satchasando, connecting with the truth. Theto, steady. Pachayuko. And he says something that is provable. And then abandoning malicious speech. This is also very important. He abstains from malicious speech. He does not repeat elsewhere what he has heard here in order to divide those people from those. That means he does not he does not repeat elsewhere what he has heard here. So he heard something here and does not go there to divide people here. You see? Nor does he repeat to those people what he has heard elsewhere in order to divide from those. That means they don't repeat what they have heard there and come here to repeat, to divide them, break their friendship. Thus he is one who reunites those who are divided. A promoter of friendship who enjoys concordance, rejoices in concordance, delight in concordance, speak of words that promote concordance. These are the things he does when he abstains from malicious speech. Abstaining from malicious is one thing, but at the same time he does so many other good things afterwards. Pisana vacham paha, pisana vacha padigirito hoti, ito sutta na amutra khata. Ime sambhedaya. Here he hears something here and goes there to divide people here. When he goes and tells something to those people over there, he divides people here. Then amutra sutta ne ime sangakatan akata amusang bhedaya. Having heard things over there, he doesn't come here and tell to divide these people against them. Iti bhinnanam sandhata. Though he's the one who united those who are divided. Sahitanam anupadata. Those who are divided, he brings together. Samagga Ramu, Samagga Rato, Samagga Nandi, Samagga Karanim, Vacham Bhajtavoti. He speaks to, brings harmony, concordance, and so forth. And then harsh speech. He abstains from harsh speech and speak softly, gently, pleasing to the ears and lovable, that has to go to the heart, are courteous, desired by many, and so forth. So these are things he practices. And abstaining from gossip. Abstaining from gossip, what he does? Speaks on what is good, speaks on the Dhamma and the discipline. At the right time, he speaks such words as worth recording. Even those days they recorded good words. Reasonable, moderate and beneficial. So, abstaining from parusavacha, he said, Yasavacha nela kannasuka pemaniya hadayangama pori bahujana kanta bahujana manapa tatharupi vachanvadi. Then, abstaining from sampapala, he said, kalavadi, bhutavadi, attavadi, dhammavadi, vinayavadi, nidhanavatin. Nidhana means putting in records. Very beautiful. And then he start other practices like he does not grow seeds, plants, and he eats only one meal a day, abstain from eating at night, he abstains from dancing, singing, music, and theatrical shows, he abstains from wearing garlands, and smartening himself with scent, embellishments, and so forth. And he abstained from high and large couches, abstained from accepting gold and silver, he abstained from accepting raw grains. You see, for bhikkhus, they are not supposed to accept raw grain and stock them. But if they accept and put it in the store room for everybody to use, that's all right. But they don't stock them in their kutis and apartments, or what you call rooms. Abstain from accepting raw meat, women, girls as slaves. Abstain from men and women slaves, girls, women slaves, girls slaves, men slaves, women slaves, and so forth. He abstained from accepting goats, sheep, fowl, pigs, elephants, cattle, horses, mares, and the field, land, and also are not engaged in buying and selling. You can see the whole list here. In order to save time, I stopped reading so many details. Then he restrained his senses, and he guarded his senses, and abstained from evil, unwholesome states of covetousness, grief, and so forth. Then, when he sees something, similarly he restrains his ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. Then he practices mindfulness and clear comprehensions on, just like we read in Satipatthana Sutta, practice mindfulness in going forward, returning, full aware of looking ahead, looking backward, and so forth. Practice mindfulness in all his activities. Then, this is what is called noble aggregates, aggregates of the noble virtue. That is Arya Sila Khanda. Arya Sila Khanda. We have Pancha Khanda, but here we have another Khanda called Sila Khanda. And we also have learned Dukkha Khanda. There are so many Khandas. Then he lives in a very simple places and so forth. So, possessing this noble restraint of the faculties, he experienced within himself the bliss that is unsullied. After practicing this, then all the time he practiced mindfulness. Then, possessing this noble mindfulness and full awareness, he restores to a secluded resting place. The forest, the root of a tree. Somebody asked me about the root of a tree when I mentioned earlier. That is what they use. A mountain, a ravine, and hillside cave, and so forth. And then, after returning from his arms round, he sits down cross-legged and overcome his sorrow, what you call covetousness and so forth, and practice meditation on loving friendliness and get rid of greed, hatred, restlessness and worry and doubt, and attain the first jhana. First jhana. You can see page 275, paragraph 9. And then he attains. Now, attain page number 19, paragraph 19, 275. The first jhana is a one footprint of the Tathagata. Then this whole practice of sila is, entire thing is one footprint, and the second footprint is attaining the first jhana. Third footprint is attaining the second jhana. Fourth footprint is attaining the third jhana. And fifth footprint is attaining the fourth jhana. And then next footprint is gaining supernatural powers, as we read in earlier. Three knowledges, three kinds of supernatural knowledges. That is another footprint of the Tathagata. And then reading others' thoughts and seeing beings dying and taking rebirth according to their karma is another footprint of the Tathagata. And overcoming taints and attaining full enlightenment is another footprint. And then finally liberated from the taints of sensual desires, from the taint of being, and from the taint of ignorance. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge. It is liberated. He understands birth is destroyed. The holy life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state. And this also is called the Buddha's footprint. So Buddha gave Janusoni more than 4 footprints. He gave many footprints, each of them leading up finally up to attainment of full enlightenment and Nibbana. Then you see, this is how people those days established in faith. When this was said, the Brahmin Janusoni said to the Blessed One, "Magnificent Master Gotama, magnificent Master Gotama." Master Gotama has made the Dhamma clear in many ways, as though he were turning upright what had been overthrown. It is overthrown like this, he turned upright, so people can see what is inside. Revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who has lost. You are lost in a desert, you don't know where to go, Buddha comes and shows the way. Or holding up lamp in the dark for those with eyesight to see forms. I go to Master Gotama for refuge, and to the Dhamma and to the Sangha of bhikkhus. From today, let Master Gotama remember me as a lay follower who has gone to him for refuge for life, not only 1, 2, 3 days, but for life. And this is how those days people established themselves in faith. In faith. Listening to Dhamma, learning the Dhamma, knowing the meaning, examining and so forth, they come to perfect understanding of the Dhamma, and then they accept it. See, this is what the Buddha encouraged, not just believing superficially. So friends, this is all we can do today, and I don't know whether you will have any questions to ask me this evening. If you have, I will spend some time. If not, we just meditate.